guys, it's Kali. I'm going to be talking about Miccostumes today since I have bought 7 cosplays from them and I've had them for a very long time, you know, over a year. So I'd like to talk about them a bit today since I am quite experienced with the brand. And overall, what I have to say is positive, but I will go over the negatives and some tips also because I feel that that all needs to be acknowledged. Anyways, let's get started. So I'm going to actually be starting off with the negatives, and I have my notes down here that I wrote out in advance, so that's why I keep looking down. So to start off, I'd like to go over the fact that long term, they do get minor wear and tear. I've only had one costume that's gotten minor wear and tear over time, and that is my Asuna cosplay. There's like little snaps here and here to like snap a part of the cosplay to, and those just repetitively fall off, and I always have to sew them back on. So like there's minor issues that I've had long term, but I never have issues that are like affect the whole costume type of issues. The type of issues that I do get though are like on small accessories. Like I'll order a small and it'll say that it's like the waist size that's mine and stuff, but then like the belt will be like for an extra large, and I have to like fix that because that's just not right. So I get little minor issues with the cosplays. I've never, in the cosplays that I've bought from them, had like an entire zipper rip off or something like that, or like a really big problem. But I have had many minor issues with their cosplays, but it doesn't really bother me much because I have hot glue, I have a bunch of tools that I can use to fix those minor issues. So if you're someone who for some reason doesn't have any resources to fix a costume, I wouldn't really recommend them because there's little minor issues that you probably will have to fix. So next up, I actually wanted to address zippers. Their zippers on some of their costumes are like really difficult to use for some reason. It's not like I can't get the zipper up because it's too tight on me. It's like they just get stuck extremely easy, but they've never broken on me. So the zippers aren't so horrible. It's just they're kind of like hard to move around. They're not big ones. They're like those really tiny costumey ones. Then also sizing. I wouldn't call this a huge issue, but it definitely is an issue in the fact that it completely varies per costume, which does make perfect sense. But like in some costumes, I'm a large, and in others I'm a small, and you have to check the sizing charts. You cannot go through Miccostumes without checking every sizing chart and then buy a costume because it's super important. And also, custom sizing isn't offered on a lot of the costumes, which is also another problem because there's a lot of people that don't fit into the, you know, small, medium, large constrictions. And I feel that it's very important that those people are able to cosplay if they want to also. And then my other problem is that it takes forever for costumes to get here. Like, I wait like 3 to 4 months for every costume. Like, and I'm in New York, so like, it's not a secret I am, and it's just like, it takes forever to get here. So I feel like I'm in a pretty main location and it doesn't get here that fast. So I can't imagine if you're like in the Midwest or something, if it would take longer. But yeah, their shipping time is like really long. It's because it comes from China and stuff. And also, so the last big criticism I have for them is their wigs are just horrible. Never ever buy a wig from them if you plan on buying stuff from them. Their wig quality is extreme garbage. And so I'm not necessarily a wig expert when it comes to cosplay. I'm just kind of getting more into styling them and stuff. But I can tell a good wig from a bad wig. So I've ordered 2 or 3 wigs from them when I first started cosplaying, and every single one of them was just god awful. It was so bad, every single one of them. Like, they just get knotted and they just are like weird material. They're like that glossy Halloween material, and they're also not very thick. And you can't, like, if you buy a styled one and it falls apart, like, it's because it was like glued on or something, and you can't, they're just, no, just don't buy wigs from them. That's a big thing. And it took me a few tries to learn that, and I didn't really listen to the people that were like, don't buy wigs from Miccostumes, but don't buy wigs from Miccostumes. On to the positives, and these are huge positives. These aren't just like little positives, they're massive. Okay, so first off, pricing is super fair. If you look on more well-known or better known and priced cosplay websites, you'll notice that they're either dirt cheap, like, you know, there's a lot of cosplays on AliExpress and Amazon that are this way, and then you'll go to other cosplay sites and you'll realize that they're wicked expensive. Miccostumes is like a perfect middle ground because you can find cosplays that have a lot of pieces, like even some like armor type pieces, armor quote unquote, because not like the super fancy armor, and they will find a way to make it but not make it super pricey, and I like them for that reason, is they're quite affordable for cosplayers and they have a lot of sales. So like even if a cosplay is like a little bit out of your budget, I can almost guarantee that at some point it will be within your budget. Also, customer support is completely amazing for Miccostumes. So I've had 2 cosplays because the COVID pandemic that were late or that just like never got processed. So I messaged them and they got back to me within a day, and the next day it was shipped, or like within a week it was at my house. So their customer support is amazing to talk to, and they're very, very good at what they do. So even if you're worried about your shipment not getting to you, customer service totally has your back at Miccostumes. They're not just gonna ghost you or anything, and they're not gonna play games with you. Also, the quality of the cosplay is actually really good. So like it feels good, the material and everything. You pay for what you get, you know, like there is some like uncomfortable materials. Like if you order, they have a certain, I don't know what material it is, but they have a certain material type that's almost like a vinyl, or like it's like a fake leather type material, and that's very uncomfortable, but that's the only material I really don't like that they use. All the materials look very, you know, like they look like the cosplay would look in real life, and they're well thought out, and I like that. So, you know, you don't have to pay for something that just doesn't even look like it'd be from whatever series you're cosplaying. And also, despite some minor issues with long-term cosplays, they hold up really well. I wear all my cosplays pretty much like once or twice a month, so I cosplay a lot and they hold up great for me. I go outside and everything and wear them to Comic-Cons, and they hold up amazing, as long as you take proper care of them too. If you don't take proper care of them, they probably won't, but I'll also talk about caring for them later on. But I love them for those reasons. So if you do choose to order from Miccostumes, some advice that I have a few pieces of advice. To start off would be, once again, I know I said this, but I can't emphasize this enough, is checking size charts and getting your measurements. Even if it makes you a little self-conscious, getting your measurements is very, very important for online ordering anything, especially in today's world where like you can buy clothing on Amazon or whatever. Like, it's just so convenient to have your measurements and to just check them with the charts online. And if you do want one custom made, and that is an option too, then you could put in your exact measurements. So make sure you have your measurements and make sure you read the size charts for every costume, because I've made the mistake once or twice of like being a small in a costume and then thinking on Miccostumes I'm a small, but then reading the size chart of another costume and being like, wait, I'm like a large in that costume. So make sure for every costume you are looking at all their details, because it varies very much. I think that they get their costumes from other sellers too, because I've had costumes with tags that like were Cosplay FM or something like that when I've ordered them from Miccostumes. So I'm pretty sure that's why their sizing varies, and make sure you're very cautious of that. Also, I'd make sure, so if you're someone that just plans on buying cosplays because you don't really have the resources to make them, I would say like have a few staple items for repairing cosplays or for making edits to cosplays. So like you might have to re-sew something on, and honestly you could get like a mini sewing kit for like a few dollars from a sewing store. I know Dollar Tree sells them even, and just to sew back on buttons, sew back on whatever you need to sew onto the costume. So definitely have a sewing kit handy, like a little one. You don't need a machine or anything, just to repair the cosplays, sew things back on that fall off, you know. And also make sure that you have a hot glue gun, because I've had like my Sailor Venus one I ordered from Miccostumes, and she has like a little like crown type thing, and it has a little jewel in the middle, and that's fallen off. a couple of times, so I had to glue that back on. And so make sure you have the resources to do that. And really, I'd say that's like all you need when it comes to their cosplays. Be prepared to like cut things too if they're too long, and not everything can properly fit. You know, it's not like you're custom making it to you all the time. So you will probably have to make adjustments, and just be prepared to do that. Also, so the last piece of advice that I have that I can't emphasize enough is iron everything out. Like, there are so many, because it's folded in that package in a warehouse and shipped to you, it's so, I don't want to say wrinkly, but there's like big creases and stuff from it being folded up in that package for so long. And your cosplay will look like an entirely new thing when you iron it out. Like, cosplays that you've this is just a general rule of thumb, I guess, for ordering cosplays, and I guess I see it a lot, and I've been guilty of it before too, is like, you can really tell when a cosplay wasn't ironed, and the more you do it, the more you'll notice when people don't do it too, because it makes the cosplay just like look cheap and like tacky and bleh when it's not ironed. So if you don't have an iron too, I'd definitely invest in one. There's some less expensive ones too, and it's essential too if you ever plan on making them for the fabric and such. It makes your cosplay look so amazing, and it makes it look so much more expensive than it is. And with Miccostumes, I definitely recommend having an iron to iron it out. But those are my tips with buying from Miccostumes, and some positives and negatives, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be seeing you next week. Please subscribe and check out my links to other social media in the description for this, and I hope you guys have a nice week. Bye!